All right, today we're going to be remaking Tiny Moves by the Bleachers and see how much we can make in a couple hours. Yeah, let's just track bass for like the whole thing. Yeah, let's try this. So actually, let's just chart out the chords for the song like this. This is probably my favorite way to organize like a song's arrangement, especially when it's a song that I'm like kind of unfamiliar with. I'll use Ableton markers here and I'll mark sections of the song like intro or verse 1. And then underneath that, I will have a MIDI clip where I'm writing out like what chords I'm using. So this is the 1, 5, then the 2, and then sometimes I will even make those different chords different colors just so I can like see what they are. Perfect. All right, now let's track bass. It's strange. For a majority of the song, I feel like there is nothing other than just like that staccato bass. There's some like Moog stuff layered underneath it, but that is basically just the bass for the whole song. Biggest thing that I know I want to hit are these drums. I'm thinking we might just have to go with a solid slate because there's a really live feel to the drums here. And it's kind of something I've noticed for the new Bleachers record as a whole, where there's just like zero compression. The traditional compressed record feel or the compressed high-end feel, it's just like not there at all. And so it's going to be a challenge to try to get stuff to be as like vibey as it is on that record. Yeah, it's just so like tiny. Like I need my kit to sound a little bit dinkier. Come on. I'm trying to load the Abbey Road drums right now. That's a little too flabby. Like when you listen to that snare, it's like almost nothing. I might even just have to like build this kit from scratch. Oh, wait. That's sounded the closest. Borderline unmixed kit. Yeah, so let's take that and then maybe we can pitch it up a little bit. So now the snare is on its own layer. I don't think that snare has particularly a lot of ring to it. Pro Q3. And just not trying to remove all the overtones, just most of the annoying ones. Then we'll get a little bit of a transient designer. And then let's try a bit of do I want a FET compressor or a VCA? Let's try VCA. Try to do something similar to the kick. I just don't want as much low end. It's a pretty dry kit. Get a little bit of compression going on, all of that. That snare needs to be like scooped a little bit more. And then let's try looking for that weird brass thing at the beginning. One up. It's not very quantized at all. Try the BA1. Most of the time, I feel like I can just get the synth sound I'm looking for. If I just like take like a preset that's like 99% of the way there. Yeah, like that. I feel like half of like getting the Bleachers sound is just like high passing stuff a lot so that there's almost no low end in it, and then lowering the high end to almost the point where it feels like there's like a low pass filter. Doing that with a Strat is going to make it sound even closer. And then we're going to get something that's a little bit more verby for this next one. That, and then we're going to do a little bit of Tau chorus just because I feel like that like top layer has a little bit something going on. That's a little bit more what I was looking for. Oh, and then I almost forgot there's a clap on the edge again. It's like a really organic, like dry clap. It's not like something like crazy. Like it sounds like a clap sample that they recorded like in the studio. Stack up all these guys here and then go in, and a great way to get some variation on some clap sounds like this where you want them to feel a little bit more live. Here's what you do. You zoom in, you grab some of them, and you just stagger them a little bit. Because now they almost have like the feeling of everybody trying to clap in a room at the same time and almost getting it. Like one person being a little bit too long. I almost want to have this one even be longer. Like the more off I put it, the more it sounds like an actual like group of people clapping. And then I also want to render this out because I feel like there's a lead up to it. This is the clap part. You're then going to reverse this and then have it sort of lead into that downbeat. Not a huge tail, just a little bit of a lead up to it. Then you just lower it in the mix a little bit. Just a little bit of a tail to sweep into that downbeat. There is some kind of like acoustic guitar going on. This is another thing I've been doing lately where I've got like rubber tubing and I've just strung it over the bridge, and you can almost get like this like rubber bridge sound, and it sounds surprisingly good when you mic it up. Another thing that is really helpful is having a roll of tape like this, like painter's tape, because what you will notice is every time you try to record acoustics, you'll get this just slightly in the background. What I've found really helpful is just get a bunch of painter's tape because it's really cheap and really easy to get a hold of. Throw something on here just to like deaden it a little bit. So now it doesn't have that same ringing problem and you won't get that ringing in all of your takes. Let's use a little bit of XLA. Throw on a little bit of EQ to darken it. A lot of the hard part of this ending of the track is just going to be like the live string section. There's like no replacement for like a live string section where you're just like instructing string players to be like, hey, mute it like insanely. There's a little bit of cello coming in underneath. When in doubt, if you're trying to make cello sound good, just play fifths. That's why cellos sound really good in rock music, because they're basically just playing power chords the whole time. And then we'll add a little bit of an EQ to make it darker. And then let's do the same thing again, but with some double bass. If you're trying to arrange like multiple string parts and you like are trying to get your virtual strings to sound better, don't quantize them. Like actually perform each individual part that you're playing and like let them be sort of like not perfectly on the grid with each other. It won't make it perfectly like a live string section, but it will help minimize some of the problems you run into with virtual strings. Doing violas. Yeah, let's do violas. But we're gonna have a couple of viola sections. I feel like there's a very like sustained version of the violas, and then we'll layer on something else that I'm hearing, which is like more of a pizzicato like pluck on top of that. No, Jack Antonoff, he does this thing that he calls like studio live, where he doesn't really try to replicate stuff like fully 100% how you would do it live. He likes having stuff where like, okay, let me record another drum section on top of this already existing drum track in a way that like probably isn't fully accurate, but like, you know, it sounds good. There's like one layer of like almost like glass like percussion in some of like the bigger sections, and I want to try to find something that's like an equivalent to that. Oh, that's almost perfect. Get that going. It's like the one element I'm gonna like throw into a reverb for this whole track. I think this reverb send is basically just gonna be for that one glass loop. Oh, we did not do the violins. Oh, there's also like a wind chime crash. If you want to get the sound of like the 1975 being funny in a foreign language, one piece of ear candy that's in like almost every single song that they have on that record is there is always some kind of like wind chime sound effect. It's like the one time you're ever going to use this Christmas wind chime sound effect. Just a little bit of like spice in the ending. Another way you can get stuff to instantly sound a little bit more like the first 1975 record is just take any sound that you have, throw some kind of granular reverb thing on it, throw on some kind of like rat style distortion that's like hard clipping it. Works every time. All right, I think that might be it. So, yeah, this is what we were able to come up with in a couple of hours. Nice. I might do a little bit of mixing off stream, but I think that we got a majority of it there. So, yeah, if you guys have enjoyed this, follow the stuff on Twitch. This has made making tracks a lot more fun for me, if I'm being totally honest. It's a heck of a lot easier to just like sit down and make them on camera like this than it is to try to like almost spend a 3-hour session by myself trying to get them to sound as realistic as possible. It's a little bit more off the cuff this way, but I enjoy it a lot more. So, thank you for everybody who came by. And yeah, I will see you guys next week.